Hello and welcome to Football Manager 2023 Roleplay, a project where we create a player using the FM pregame editor, give him a potential ability of 200, and see if he will become the greatest American footballer ever. Unlike many videos on YouTube, we will not be managing a club, and we will simply watch the progression of this player, Henry Marshall, from the age of 15 to hopefully his eventual retirement. This is a role building exercise where FM23 provides the events and we build a story around those events. And here is our basic information about the now 18-year-old Henry Marshall. It's November 21st, 2024 is his birthday. He has recently finished his last games with the MLS club Atlanta United. And on January 1st, 2025, he is scheduled to join Liverpool in the Premier League. So he will enjoy his last 6 weeks in the United States. Will anything noteworthy happen between now and the time he departs? Let's move forward in the game clock. We are now up to, as you can see, January 1st, 2025. And let's talk about what happened during the offseason. There was one important item I need to bring your attention. We haven't been following this item at all because who cares? But it's definitely been happening. I'm sure you've all forgotten that while Henry Marshall was living the life of an MLS player rather, he was 17 years old. And because of that, he was still pursuing his online high school diploma. Well, he certainly had a lot of free time to do it. And so after months of on again, off again coursework, on December 15th, 2024, he submitted the last of his exams online and he graduated from his online education 6 months ahead of schedule. Now, Henry, frankly, he didn't think he'd go to college. He had no interest in college. He was very fortunate in his career choice, that when a football player leaves the training grounds, his life is his own, and he had a lot of free time. Couldn't go out partying with the other players, wasn't allowed to drink alcohol. He could have done it on the sly, but no, no adult is going to take the hit of giving a kid alcohol. Particularly if they're in a high-profile profession. And sometimes Henry was just so bored in his first apartment, he'd study just to break the tedium. And he also had convenience; he could pick up study assignments when he wanted to, and if he had a game and it interfered with that, he could just put it on hold. He didn't need anybody's permission to take a break. He could figuratively eat in class. He could answer the phone in class. He could go to the bathroom in class because class started and stopped whenever he decided it was going to. So he was free from schooling, and that forever, and that felt good. Although Henry wondered what he was going to fill his spare time with. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the awards at the end of the year. Now, the winners of the major end of year awards are the same as they were last year in 2023, only with one exception. Mohamed Salah is the FIFA best player out of Liverpool. World Player of the Year, Kylian Mbappe, PSG. Keeper is Donnarumma from PSG. He was also the best keeper last year. CONCACAF Player of the Year, Leon Bailey, same as last year. CONCACAF keeper, Luis Malagón, he has switched from America to Club Leon. And the U.S. Young Player of the Year is Johnny. He has left America and he's playing for Internacional in Brazil. Now, as January 1st, 2025 arrived, Henry Marshall received his call from his agent, Hunter Alvarez, early in the morning. Now, when Liverpool picked him up, they picked up his minimum salary. And Henry was waiting until they negotiated the terms of the salary before he would head on to Liverpool. And the call, Hunter Alvarez said, I have wonderful news. The contract is even more than we hoped it was going to be. You're going to get $1.45 million a year over the next 2 years and 6 months. You'll get at least a 5% salary raise every year, appearance fees, shutout fees, the works. I'm sending the contract by um, fax online. Your job is to, sign it as soon as you can. Then you get on the next plane as soon as you can. Then you head to Liverpool, and they'll tell you what to do next. So good luck. Let's go ahead now and take a look at Henry Marshall's new contract. And I'm going to find him on a short list here. Ta-da! Look, there he is now at Liverpool. Contract 1.45 million a year. We really need to look at the individual contract details here. 1.45 million a year. It's probably about 788,000 after UK taxes. A guaranteed yearly salary raise. There's a relegation salary drop, common in all European contracts. He has an appearance fee. He has an extra fee if his club gets shut out. He has extra fee as an unused substitute. Uh, there are no release clauses. After 15 appearances with the club, his salary will go up to 2.3 million. After 25, 3.6 million. And there's furthermore a 1-year optional contract extension by Liverpool. There are no other clauses. It is a sweet deal. Note that he is with the Liverpool under 21s, and if you look at their salaries, he is the best paid of all of these young players. So the next morning, Henry Marshall says goodbye to his parents, and he flies from Shreveport, Louisiana, to Charlotte, North Carolina, to Frankfurt, Germany, and finally to John Lennon Airport in Liverpool. And he takes the very first cab to the AXA Academy, where the Liverpool under 21 team trained. They trained along with the main Liverpool club. They trained separately from them. Separate and certainly not equal. I mean, to say that Henry was impressed with the setup at Liverpool, this was an understatement. I mean, the only time he had seen anything even close to this kind of setup was the U.S. men's soccer training facilities, which were located in Atlanta. He would then proceed on his first day at the club to have a complete body scan. This took between about 90 minutes and a couple of hours. I mean, clearly Liverpool was going to thoroughly examine their new property. After that, he had a cardiac assessment. They put stuck the little electrodes on your chest. Then after that, they had him do a treadmill. Then he dressed up in uniform, photography with a kit, a brief interview just for the club's public relations setup. Basically, how are you? What do you think about the club? Kind of light questions that you could just put on social media. And after that, to go out and meet Barry Lutas, who is the under 21s coach for Liverpool. And Lutas told him, he said, we've been waiting for you a long time. But they didn't want to make a move until, he was basically his contract was up and he was going to turn 18. And he told Henry that the club had been following his career. He said, and we were impressed, especially against adult competition. It was competition for real stakes, and you had a lot of demand for your, as a player across MLS, which is a real league. On top of that, the demand of American travel. You played for 3 different clubs. You showed your maturity every single time. Klopp said this is what he wanted to see. He wanted to see a lot of heart and a lot of natural talent. A young Olympic team, U.S. footballers. It's an impressive CV. When you'll step into the first 11, I can't say. It's a different game, and you got to prove yourself, and you're going to start with the youth squad. A lot can change, and a lot can change fast, so be ready. And then he met his host family in Liverpool, Wilson and Maria Applin. And the Applins had hosted several Liverpool youth players and helped them get acclimated to the city until they could find lodging of their own. Now, Henry remembered his April 30th deadline to find a place, and he resolved that he wasn't going to waste the Applins' time, and he was going to find a place right away. He would also need an automobile, but he thought he could probably swing an automobile when he's being paid $1.5 million a year. Liverpool FC, however, was going to take care of this car. Well, sort of. I mean, he still had to pay for it. But it had been an academy tradition at Liverpool that the academy had to approve of the player's car. The Henry didn't come up in the Liverpool academy system, but he was 18 years old, and the club was going to demand it of him anyway. Liverpool did not want young men with money showing up to practice with flash cars in what Ludus called a fucking arms race, for the biggest, baddest car. Lucha said, you pull up with some gold BMW, and before you know it, you think you can start against Arsenal. Players would have giant heads and they'd start to slack off, thinking they'd done something before they got there. Henry would be paying for the car, but the academy had to give its thumbs up before he would be allowed to park it there. If you decided to hold your ground and got too big for britches, fine. You could park, but you couldn't park at the academy. You had to park much further away. Oh, by the way, Mohamed Salah would not be following those rules, obviously. At Liverpool, you could drive like a superstar only when you were a superstar. Now, Henry Marshall had been driving in the USA for over 2 years, but he kept his mouth shut about this point. So he settled on a nearly new Ford Focus at about $29,800 American. And by the way, he paid full price for this car. It was his outright. But buying it outright instead of renting it or leasing it, that might have been a mistake. But at least he didn't have to keep up the payments, which was one less thing to worry about. The Academy approved, and now he had a car. But his host family, the host couple, I guess you could call them, they gave him some shocking news. Yeah, his U.S. license was only going to be valid for 1 year in the UK, and after that, he wouldn't be allowed until he'd proved he had passed a UK driving test. The roads in Liverpool could be tricky. They told him this was going to be real driving in a real city. So we are now. Let's take a look here. Liverpool has signed Marshall, hopeful to successful spell at the Reds. The club's objective is to sign young players for the first team. It's just part of the overall future here at Anfield. So what we're going to do now, let's go to our inbox, social feed, inbox, social feed, shortlist. Atlanta United, that is gone forever. Change that to Liverpool and see who's on their shortlist. And where is Henry? He's way down here in terms of current ability, 126 between Tyler Morton and Russell John. So we'll see how Henry gets on. There's Henry. Liverpool 20 under 21s. They play in Premier League 2, Division 1 with 13 other clubs, currently 10th in Premier League 2, Division 1. Liverpool under 21 schedule. Their next game is going to be against Nottingham Forest. This game has actually already been played. We will see. Let's take a look and see how that game turned out. If Henry Marshall actually somehow plays in this game, just backdate all the stuff that I said previously. Who knows? Maybe he came to Liverpool earlier to play in this game. Maybe they already knew. But let's see how that game turned out on January 1st. Slow. There we go. Social feed stuff. Main team. I need to know how the main team won that game. Main team is actually 9 points ahead in the Premier League. The under 21 squad no, I was wrong. This game is not until the 5th. So we'll start taking a look at these games. We'll see how Henry does if they start playing him right away. A friendly game under the Sunderland under 21s on January 5th. We'll catch up soon. Okay, we are now at January the 16th, 2025. And all of this time, Henry has been with the under 21 squad at Liverpool. And let's see how their schedule has gone. We can't use the social feed because the social feed won't deliver the results of those games. So we lose a little bit of the drama here. On the 5th, game against Sunderland, Under 21s. This is a friendly match. It was a 1-1 draw on the road where Henry Marshall seemed to settle in right away. He had a 7-3 match rating. He was informally named the player of the match. They did get a yellow card, and Liverpool's under 21 squad wasn't able to generate much offense, which is pretty much the story of Henry's life. But it gave good signs that Henry Marshall's signing was no fluke. Then we have a week later another game, another friendly game. This one on the 12th against the Cardiff under 21s. And this is another 1-1 draw on the road. Now, this time, instead of being hot, Henry was cold. He had a 6-2 match rating. I mean, did the pressure to match his performance against, Sunderland U21s the previous week, did it get to him? He attempted 5 tackles, and as you can see, his personal statistics, he only made 2 of them. His passing rating, 74%. Not that great. A lot of kids got a chance to, have some game time there, but nothing special for Henry. Just a sloppy game for him. But then there was some thrilling news, which would excite the under 21 squad. Jurgen Klopp, the coach of Liverpool, he was going to be present at the academy grounds against the game on the 15th against the Everton under 21s. This put the youth squad in a state of high agitation. A good game against Everton, seen by the man himself, would mean a lot. I mean, because there weren't going to be many spots on a senior squad like this. I mean, this was a squad, one of the squads for the ages, and you wanted to make the best impression possible. Well, it was 37 degrees Fahrenheit that day, and the starters would be announced a couple of hours before the game. Marshall waited for his name to be called, but instead he would be a reserve. And the 22-year-old Owen Beck instead got the call in a 3-1 victory by Liverpool over Everton. There is Marshall right on the bench. Beck gets to start at left back, and wearing a padded jacket and watching from a distance, the man himself, Jurgen Klopp. He showed up to observe the game, and Henry Marshall thought his lips would turn blue while he was sitting on the bench. And we see that Owen Beck has a 7-3 at left back, has a goal at left back. Couldn't be any better for Beck. And Liverpool under 21s play above their head in a 3-1 win that Marshall has no part of on a big day. We'll wrap up with one item of world building. In January of 2025, Bulgaria adopted the euro. There had been a lot of hemming and hawing and diddle dabbling among the Bulgarians. Would they adopt the euro? Would they bow out of the euro? But finally, Bulgaria pulls the trigger. The Bulgarian lev is discontinued, and all goods and services in Bulgaria will be priced and paid for in euros. And that's the end of this episode. Henry Marshall is now in Liverpool, but will he stay on the under 21 team forever? Will he ever get a chance to impress Klopp again? Well, anyway, if you like what you hear or see, make a comment or hit the like and or subscribe button. Until next time.